understand the concept of love.
Hello everyone, Carthor here. I'm going to be uploading a series of videos, which is going to be basically a ranking, a tier list of upcoming characters to give you a bit of an idea of my opinion on these characters and which might be the best value for money for you, the best value for diamonds. Keep in mind when you see these videos, we follow Taiwan. We get the characters they get with their kits, which are sometimes slightly different from China and completely different from Japan. So you don't have to think about Japan at all when we look at our characters. Some people make that mistake, but we just don't have anything to do with them. The characters they get are completely different from what Taiwan gets, and therefore completely different from what we get. Also, when you see those videos on the internet, from like China region, Taiwan region, keep in mind they are often from big whales or interesting cases like matches that just happen like 1 out of 100 or something, because they want those videos to get views, so they're going to make the videos as attractive as possible in that sense. When you get these characters, don't expect to be doing 120 million damage with Chris, right? Unless you're a massive whale, because we're going to have these characters probably somewhere between, most of you will have these characters probably between the range of like 800,000 power to like 2 million power by the time they come out. And by the time, say, Chris came out in Taiwan, people had him at 4 million, for example, right? People have Psyche and Ignis at like 6 million power and crazy stuff like that in those videos. And the scaling works completely different because they have more power systems which add new effects, which then makes the percentages that much crazier. So those videos are fine to watch for fun, but don't try to use them to judge how they will actually perform in your team, right? So as an explanation, the idea for the videos I'm going to be posting is they're going to be probably somewhere between the 15 to 18 minute mark, or maybe the 13 to 16 minute mark, depending on the character. They're going to be about 10 to 12 minutes of a bit of a deep dive into the character, and then I'll have a quick like 3 minute at the end for people who already know most of the character but just want like a TLDR basically, or TLDW in this case. Yeah, so as an explanation for the tiers, broken characters are what their name says, and I think nobody compares to Ignis. I think he just does everything at a higher level than everybody else does. He does have a little bit of a tiny issue with CC if you'd like, but that's so easily solvable in global, because we have advanced fight souls, which is another reason why when you watch China videos you should keep that in mind. China doesn't have advanced fight souls like we do, so no Storm, no Guardian, nothing like that. So broken tier is broken tier. Is a character that if you run, he is going to immediately improve your team because he does everything. He is basically immortal. He has a huge defensive passive, blah blah blah. A tier, both of those little A tiers, like the second one is just characters that I have a little bit of a doubt on and might end up down there, but I'm not sure. There's barely any difference between A tier and A asterisk. A tier basically means you can slot them into any team without any consideration, right? You can run Chris, you can run Mai, you can run Goenitz, you can run Yashiro. As a frontliner or a backliner in any team, you don't have to care about who else is in your own team, right? Every character needs to worry about what the meta in your server is, but in terms of your own team, you can slot these characters easily into your team without any kind of... They're just like plug and play, basically. B team, they're a little bit different. Continuing on the plug and play and that analogy, you need a special port for them. You need to think a little bit more about them. Generally, they're going to have like one weakness that is going to make them stand out. It could be CC, it could be like Mary, for example. You need to think who's going to be behind her. She needs someone who has a lot of actions. She also isn't immune to burns like Liz, Yashiro and Rob are, so she'll take a lot of damage from Mai, and in the future you get Kyo and Yuri coming up. We know this because of fates of other characters, so those are two other characters that are probably going to have burns. So when you think about building your team, you already know that Rob, Liz, and Yashiro are not going to have to be worried about those burns because they already have their immunity, so they're a little bit more future-proof, that kind of thing. C tier, it's only Hane there because Hane is a great character if you're low VIP or if you're free to play. Otherwise, you don't really want to run him over any other DPS. If you're constrained in resources because you took a break, because you've just started, because you're a low VIP, whatever it is, Hane is a great character because he will come in Anniversary with Ignis and he is free and you can get his 2 weapons free. So at that point all you need to S-max him is pretty much 2 tomes, 2 badges and the power frags that you need to basically get him to 6 stars, and you can get a lot of frags as well during the events around it. So he is really good if you're like constrained in resources, has a lot of options, has a lot of possibilities. He does a lot of different things. He's really nice in that sense. He just doesn't have the raw power that the people in A and B tier actually have. Kukri and King, well, what can I say, right? King already had a short lifespan and release. She didn't last very long because other frontliners overtook her, so now in global she's like 10 months late or something. So at this point she's not going to do anything for you. Same goes for Kukri. And Yuri, like with most characters that come out nowadays, I need to see her S-max, because my advice to you is any character you plan on getting, you should be planning on S-maxing. Because S-maxes nowadays are way different than they used to be. They're all worth it. They're all super strong. Before, sometimes you could get away with getting a weapon or even going with weaponless characters. Now that's not really the case. So it's better to get less characters and build them properly than to get more characters and have them built halfway. Also keep in mind, these ratings will change server to server, because my meta, for example, will be different from your server meta. Chris might be better in my server because I have less people with reflect and counters. He might be worse in yours because you have more. Maybe a lot of people are running flame teams in yours with Psyche Striker, and so running Chris and Mai, and then in the future and Psyche, and then in the future getting Q in there might be another option. So these things are going to vary server by server, right? And they're also going to vary depending on what you're actually aiming for. If you're just playing for fun, if you don't care about trying to climb into the top 10 or top 3 or whatever, then just get whichever characters you like, right? You're going to do fine. But if you want to climb, if you want to get better at the game, I feel like these characters give you the best options at that. So to conclude this video, I will be uploading right after this the first video, which will be Orochi Chris, so we can talk about him because he's releasing for Christmas, and hopefully this can help you all and give you a little bit of information on what's coming up. And I'll see you in the next video.